workshop, voice modulation workshop. As per usual, I'm here today to teach you the methods, the methodology, the exercises, and the ways that you can learn to feminize your voice, to masculinize your voice, going through theories, exercise, and sound exploration. As per usual, I do like to make a little preface when it comes to vocal hygiene and vocal health. If you are someone who takes medications such as spironolactone, very common in HRT treatments, or for example, you have hay fever medication like me, do know that these medications are drying to your voice and your body. So if you take any medication that might be drying to your body or dehydrating you in any way, shape, or form, maybe try to work around it. If you take the medication in the morning, prefer doing voice work later in the day. At the end of the day, you can technically do any form of dehydration as long as you drink water accordingly, and as long as you know that your practice time might be a little bit more limited if your voice is drier than in its more optimal setting. Of course, other substances such as caffeine, alcohol, or smoking are also known to be dehydrating and harmful to the voice. At least they don't tend to interact well together. Of course, at the end of the day, body autonomy reigns supreme. So you do what you want with your body, but be warned and have fun and just practice in the nicest way possible. All right. So, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what voice is about. For the newcomers that are not familiar with voice, this is what we use to generally describe voice in three main categories. We call this the power source filter model, and it aims to explain voice into three main categories. First, the power, which is the air we have available in our lungs. It's going to power all voice that we're going to produce. Uh, as we blow out air, it's going to travel up this tube called the trachea and reach this purple thing called the source. Well, technically, this thing in purple is what we call the larynx. If you put your hands up to your neck, you might feel a little bump there. That's it. This is the part you feel. It is your laryngeal cartilage, the soft bone that kind of is the exterior shape of your larynx. But that's not the important part. Within the larynx, you will find little flaps, little flaps of flesh, little folds that you might have heard be called vocal cords before. They're not quite like strings or cords for that matter. They really are just like flaps. And so these flaps open and close really fast. Sometimes several hundred times per second, thanks to the air that you provide from below. So they vibrate from bottom to top, open, close, open, close, open, close really fast. And that vibration then creates a sound, which we call the source sound. And that source sound will then move up in this whole thing, which we call the filter. The filter is what we also call the vocal tract. It's a series of tube, namely the tube of your nose, that's the nasal cavity, the tube of your mouth, that's your oral cavity, and the pharynx, which is the tube that connects your mouth and your nose together and is also a non negligible space to shape the sound. Because, yes, whilst the source is the vocal folds vibrating, it is also a very raw sound. That raw sound will then be filtered out thanks to the different shapes that your tongue, lips, and that your larynx might change depending on its position. So, for example, if I just say a, e, I, o, u, all of these different vowel sounds contribute to modifying all of the space. And yes, when we talk, when we use different vowels, we actually change the filter all the time at the level of our mouth and at the level of our nose. For example, the sounds N as in nose, or M as in mouth, or ng as in sing. All of these sounds are produced by going through the nose alone. But I'm getting a little bit overboard here. Very simply, voice works as follows. I push air up, it reaches the larynx. Within the larynx, you have flaps. They vibrate really fast thanks to the air we provided. And a sound is produced, it bounces around in all of these spaces, and that produces voice. That's all there is to it. But it's not exactly everything that is to it. Of course, there's biological factors we have to take into account and social factors. The one biological factor that we tend to encounter the most when it comes to voice and the dimorphism that results from it is testosterone exposure. Testosterone does three things to someone's voice. The first thing testosterone does is that it makes your vocal tract a lot bigger. For example, here I'm speaking with a much smaller vocal tract, and if I drop my larynx, I will artificially make my vocal tract much bigger, which will then sound like this.
Ow. And now I have this really dark, cavernous voice, which sounds a lot more in tune with a more masculine sound. So, the first thing that happens is my vocal tract gets bigger when testosterone is exposed to my voice. So other way around, when my voice is exposed to testosterone. The second thing that happens is the vocal folds within the larynx, which vibrate really fast because they're really short, become longer due to the exposure to testosterone. And as they become longer, the pitch then evolves to become a lot lower because a slower vibration produces lower pitches. And then the third thing that happens is just like in the rest of the body, testosterone has an affinity for increasing muscle mass. And so this can also be heard in voice, where if we have more vocal folds mass, we get a more boomier, more textured voice. And all these three things together, well, you probably can tell, have yielded a really masculine voice. Now, if you want, like me, to feminize your voice, then you want to soften up your voice if necessary, bring your pitch higher, and make your voice brighter. And then you find your femme voice. So that's pretty much it about voice. With that being said, I did mention vocal hygiene and vocal health is really important. Vocal folds are also partially muscle, as I mentioned before, with testosterone being able to actually affect the part of the muscle that's present in our voice. So, what I like to do too is to stretch your voice. There is no point in working on your voice if you don't warm it up. You're not going to go run a marathon without stretching your legs. You're not going to do a lot of dancing or whatever it is you do without stretching your body first. So, same thing goes for the voice. What we do is what we call softies, SOVTE. It stands for semi occluded vocal tract exercise. And yes, I have not made it present on the slide. I should have, but maybe I will in the future. But, anyways, the point of these exercises is to help our voice warm up. We kind of create a restriction at the level of the mouth. Remember how I mentioned that the voice functions with power source and filter? Well, if you think about it this way, when you use your voice, you only ever use it by pushing air from the bottom to the top. That means that there's always a pressure differential that comes from the bottom. Your vocal folds here always have to fight against a strong pressure within your lungs. And trust me, the human breath is pretty darn strong. So if we create an occlusion here with our lips rounded, ooh, with our teeth in the way, or with our lips in the way, or better yet, if we have like a straw and some liquid, we can do bubbles. We actually create a pressure here that helps alleviate the pressure under which the vocal folds are otherwise, uh, you know, fighting against. So let's get back to warm up. For this, you can do this all muted and whatever, and follow along with me. All right, I'm gonna do an O sound. Try to follow along to the best of your ability. Going in three, two, one. All right, very good. Let's try a different sound this time. This time using the word to sound. Sorry, the sound is Z as in zoo. I'm going here in three, two, one. Okay, very good. And last but not least, we're going to do a lip trill. This one might be a bit tricky for some of you. So here's like a little GIF that shows you that you can use your hand on the sides of your lips to help with setting the vibration right if you struggle to reach it. All right. Same as before, from a low pitch to a high pitch, the goal is not to reach the highest pitch ever. It's just to warm up your voice. So remember that. Do so in a way that makes your voice feel comfortable. All right. I'm going here in three, two, one.
All right. And that is all done. Very good job, everyone. For those who followed along, get all the claps you deserve. All right. And with that being said, I'm going to move to the next part of this workshop. For those who are not familiar, hey, you actually did it without cracking. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Good job, hers worse. Anyways, our goal now will be to work directly with your voices. So I generally try to get two people up on stage who want to feminize their voices and two people up on stage who want to masculinize their voices. So if you want to participate, don't do it now. You can use the hand splayed emoji, the wave emoji, or just react with a request to speak. I'm going to start with mask voice today, and I already see someone here who is requesting to speak for mask voice. I dare assume from the roles I see. So, oh, I had a bit of a stutter on my PC. All right, then let's get started. Mio, you have been invited to speak. Mayo, how do I say your name?
Either way, it's fine.
All right, Mayo, welcome up on stage. Everyone give a big round of applause to Mayo. Woo! You have now spawned as a yippy creature.
Yippee!
You mean to say yippee?
Yeah,
All
my
right.
man.
All right, awesome. Welcome up on stage. So, have you, this is the first time you've been on stage, right?
This is the first time I have done anything like this.
Oh wow, really? Okay. There's a lot to cover then. Have you already done some voice acting just for fun, playing around with your voice? Have you done
Not at
any
all.
singing? Not at all. Completely new to voice work,
Yeah.
period. All right. Then we'll have a lot of fun. I guarantee that. First of all, I want you to give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest comfortable pitch. Give it a try.
From highest
Uh,
pitch to low.
yes, you're going to want to change.
Oh, no?
Oh, well, you're going up now.
Oh,
Oh. You're
like
also
that.
going to want to change your Discord settings. So please go to user settings. Once you're in there, go into voice and video, and then into voice. Once you're in there, make sure that your input profile is set on studio and that Crisp is
Input.
properly disabled.
With my
Yes.
input profile. Oh, okay.
All good. Perfect. All right, let's try this
Is
again.
this better?
Yes. Let's try this from high to low. Oh.
Oh.
Nice. Oh. Okay, E3, very good.
Oh.
Oh. So E3 can both sound really feminine, like so. Oh, ashes to ashes, or
Oh, ashes to ashes.
so the same pitch can sound very different. So let's do that. Let's change it. The way I like to modify voices is by doing some sound exploration exercises. Are you familiar with whisper sirens or like whisper exercises?
No.
All right, that's totally fine. Don't give me the scared sound. No, it's fine. Don't worry. Everyone learns one day. So, I want you just to give me a whisper, like a gentle whisper, just saying like hello.
Gentle whisper, okay.
Yeah, just like a hello.
Hello.
No, a whisper. Hello. Just the
Hello.
yeah, there you go. Just the breath. Very good. So now you notice your hello is like this. Hello. Right? Can you kind of gender that whisper? Like if you had to give me like a marker, would it be more masc or more femme? Hello.
I don't think I can. I don't
Okay,
I don't know.
that's totally fine. I will show you. You can technically have a hello that's really bright, like so. Hello. It's quote unquote sounds quote unquote high pitch. And you can also have like a hello that sounds really dark, like hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. And then this sounds more like a masculine whisper, right? It's much darker, much bigger sounding.
Right? Because it is. So this is what I want you to do. We're going to use the words pat that cat, like we're patting a little cat. All right. Can you say pat that cat on a whisper, like so?
Pat that cat.
Beautiful. Now you're here. Pat, pat, pat. Our goal is going to be
Okay.
to bring that much lower. So just take the word pat and try to trail down still on a whisper. So like so. Pat, pat,
But,
pat,
but,
pat.
but,
Yeah. And again.
but that cat.
All right, try this again. Pat, pat, pat,
But,
But,
but, and then try to stay on the dark one.
but, 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 but,
But,
but.
yeah, but,
So now you went from pat to,
but.
right? It's
Mm.
much darker, it's much lower. If you struggle to notice a change, what you can do is take your hand and place it gently on your neck. Don't press down, don't hold anything out of in place, but can you feel a little bump on your neck? Even if it's discreet, there is still one. Can you
I
feel
mean,
something?
I guess.
Okay. Now as you just the way I do it is like I have my hand splayed, like just like resting on it. My index finger is kind of below my chin, on the neck still, and my
Mhm.
pinky finger is kind of like right above my collarbone. No, this is not in VRChat. It's only in Discord. VRChat is coming back next week. But
Okay.
anyways, so sorry, I was answering chat. Now, with your hand rested on your neck, I want you to try the bright pat down to dark pat again. So pat, 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 pat. Try it out.
But, 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 but.
Very good. Pat,
But.
good. Have you noticed anything under your fingers that moved?
It, it like shakes a bit when it's like lower.
All
I don't
right.
know.
Very, very good. So So as you make your voice darker, what happens is your larynx quite literally moves lower. What this results in is that your filter, your vocal tract, becomes bigger as a result, right? Your larynx pulls down, so your pharynx becomes longer as a result. Making the tube bigger makes your voice darker. Kind of think about the difference between a little violin and a huge like contrabass. Think about like a very tiny ukulele versus a big warm guitar. You know, like the size of the instrument conditions and changes the texture that we get. For voice, it's the same, except that for a femme voice, we have more of a small instrument, and for a masc voice, we have more of a big instrument, right?
Mm.
So now that you have done the following, I want you to try and hold that position, that darker position of the dark whisper.
And just try to whisper a little bit with it. You know, just give it a try.
But, but. Whisper like this.
Whisper like this. Yes, very good.
And now you have this,
Whisper like this.
right? What you
Yeah.
can now do is bridge into the low pitch you have shown me before. You might not remember the pitch we were going at, but you were around an E3. So, la 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 la. Can you match my pitch here?
Oh, I don't. I
Ah.
am really bad at this.
It's okay. Just do a slide like, ah.
Um,
I'm accompanying you down. Mimic after
hmm.
me. Ah.
Uh, uh,
Ah. Good. Ah.
um,
You're here, G3.
mm,
Ah. 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 Try to go the lowest you can go. Ah. Like you drop down. Oh. You let your voice fall. Oh. Yes, that last pitch here. Oh. That was actually a D3. That's really good. Hell yes. Oh. Okay, good. And now you want to kind of learn to commit that pitch to memory because it
mm,
is part of your range. It's just that you don't use it a lot, right? These pitches, you generally speak all the way up here, right? But like these pitches are also part of your voice. So use them more and you will become more familiar with them. That's not quite on the point. The next and last part of the practice here is to bridge over from a whisper to a balanced voice. When you use whispers, your vocal folds are always in an open position. All you hear when you do a whisper is the air brushing past the body of the vocal folds here in white. But when you speak normally, like hello, 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 your vocal folds vibrate and they go really quickly between open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. It's those clicks repeated fast enough that create your pitch. And so that would be more of a balanced sound where the vocal folds actually in each cycle meet and close fully. So when you are doing a whisper, it's all open. So basically, you want to go very slowly between a whisper, going to a breathy sound, and then going into a balanced sound. And those three steps sound like this. Again, right? Effectively slowly closing the vocal folds and resuming a vibration where the vocal folds fully close and fully open as they showed in a balanced sound. All right, give me a dark whisper on Pat.
But
Careful here, you did. It kind of moved back up. Try to keep it low.
but
Now you're a little bit brighter. So try this. Good. Doing the comparison between high and low helps you assimilate that feeling and that sound and connect those two. So now you have that lower, darker pat. Our goal is now to go to a balanced sound, like so. Give it a try.
but
Careful here. Your voice kind of reset here in the breathy part, right? So, as I said before, like you can technically feel your larynx beneath your fingers. As I said before, like the larynx can be more or less prominent. For me, testosterone has affected my voice, and so my larynx is a lot bigger, so it's easier for me to track and find where it is on my neck. For you, it might be less because you might have been less exposed to testosterone as I have, right? So, with behavior and like just knowing your body and practicing those whispers, going, trying to consistently go darker and explore that darkness, you'll be able to become more attuned to it. You'll be able to like spend more time with it and also spend more time using your low pitches because right now you generally like kind of yeah like you seem to talk like all the way up here like around the pitches of A3 and B3, but I have heard your voice go as far down as D3. So these are pitches that you definitely want to explore a little bit more and become more accustomed to, because right now what you have to do is juggle with making your vocal tract bigger by making the whisper darker. Plus, you have to aim for a pitch that is low and that you're not familiar with. So these are two things to juggle with. And as you will discover about voice, this is not the only dimensions. There is vocal weight as well. And then there's intonation. And then there's like the closure of the vocal folds. So I'm swarming you with ideas and like dimensions of the voice. But I'm just saying that right now you're kind of like learning to explore your body. The more important thing here is explore your voice, get more attuned with it, see what pitches you can reach. Use like pitch monitoring apps online. Like there's like pitch tuners that exist and stuff like that to help you with that. Okay.
okay.
So those are my recommendation. You did really well for a first time. Just keep practicing and maybe I'll see you around in the next workshop.
Thanks for helping me out.
You're super welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Mio.
Yippee!
All right, awesome. Thank you, Mio. All right, next up on stage, I'm gonna see someone who wants to work on making their voices more feminine. For this, you want to make their voices more feminine? Use your hand, wave, or use the request to speak button. All right, XYZ, I think I know you. Have you already been on the workshop stage? I just want to give a chance to those who have not been on stage before. Okay. Cassie, have you been on stage before? You're welcome, Mio. All right. I don't believe I've seen Cassie before. Nope, first time. All right, invite to speak. Starting the timer because I keep track of time really poorly. All right, hello, welcome, Cassie. Welcome up on stage. Everyone give a big round of applause to Cassie. Woo!
Hello.
Welcome on stage. Hi. All right, Cassie. Is this the first time you ever do anything with voice feminization or voice work in general?
Kinda, yeah. I work a lot, so I don't really have a whole lot of time.
That is super valid. So, what are you like familiar with? Like, is the like theory, the methodology something you are familiar with or not so much?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Would you say you already have like a fem voice in progress or not so much?
I'm trying to work on it, like around the house, and
Okay,
that's
cool.
really about it.
Okay, very, very good. So, first things first, I want to hear how high you can go in pitch. Can you give me a slide from your
Lowest and go up to your
highest pitch? Maybe slower than I did it. So, oh, try it out.
Oh.
Oh, what's the pitch here? Oh, be free. Okay, so you can go all the way up here. That's awesome. So you have all of this range available for your fem voice. And technically, by the way, these are common socially gendered ranges. It depends entirely on the individual. So, you know, you can very much have fem voices that are like around these pitches, by the way. And mask voices that are way up above here, right? So, just use these as recommendation. Pitch is not the only thing that matters when it comes to voice work, but you know about this. Y'all are so smart. Okay, so Cassie, very good range. Let's get directly into the nitty gritty of the practice. Let's see what we got. All right, so I want you to give me a whisper on the sounds pat that cat, like so.
pot, thought, got.
Try it out.
Pot, thought, God.
Beautiful. Now let's try to brighten that. Let's try this.
Pot, 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 pot.
Pat, pat.
Pot, 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 pat.
Good. Now you went from a dark pat
Pot.
up to bright pat. Pat. All right, very good. What you can also do is just like put your hands on your neck. Do you feel the bump there? Do you feel your Adam's apple?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I want you to see how the Adam's apple and feel how the Adam's apple moves when you go from a dark pad to a bright pad. Kind of like to add to your feeling explorer, like to your feeling when it comes to brightening your voice. So try it out again with your hand on your neck.
Pot.
Pat, pat, pat.
Pot.
Very good. How did that feel?
I felt it, yeah.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. All right, so we did this. Pa, 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 pa. And now we have a bright whisper. So I just want you to use that bright whisper and just say, "Pat that cat," and then get into "That's mad brat sound on that flat mat." Try it out.
Pat that cat. That mad brat sat on that cat.
Okay, that mad brat sound on that cat. Not the right sentence, but it's okay. It doesn't matter what the words are. So, that brat sound on that flat mat. Okay, very good. So now we have this bright position. Our larynx is higher. Now, what we need to do is go from a whisper into a breathy sound into the balanced sound that we eventually want to have. But we can't aim for any pitch. If you aim too low, that mad brat, that mad brat, you might lose your whole structure entirely. If you aim too high, You might squeeze your voice and get like a falsetto out of this, like an M2 sound. So let's first aim for a pitch that we both know we can do. Okay, so here, blah, 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 blah. I want you to mimic after me. Oh, that's a C3.
Oh.
Very good. Oh, C, D, E, D, C.
Oh.
Good. Let's try this. Oh,
Oh.
good. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, now we're at G3. Let's try to hold at G3 a little bit. Oh, say pat that cat on G3. Ah.
Oh, pat that cat.
Okay. Careful, you dropped F3. That's okay. As long as you stay in that area, we're fine. Oh, pat that cat. Now reset your voice. Go.
Yeah, bad that cat.
Go backwards.
Yeah, just, well, wherever you're speaking at right now.
Like, well, had that cat.
Yeah.
Pat that cat.
And now think about the sound again that we just did. Oh, pat that cat.
Or pad that cat.
Pat that cat.
Oh,
Higher in pitch. Oh, pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
All right, very good. And low pitch again.
oh,
And then high pitch again. Oh, kind of like you're doing it different too.
Oh. Oh.
Yes, very good. Now you're committing more and more to memory to that pitch. Okay, now we want to go back to the bright sound of pat that cat. Pat, 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 pat. Get there? Good. And now we're going to bridge into but instead of making it sound like
oh.
we're going to make it sound like thanks to the brighter whisper we have. So,
Uh.
reach for this bright sound.
Oh.
Just a whisper first. It's okay. I know it's a lot of things to juggle with. Dark whisper,
Bad that cat.
then we go up.
Pat that cat.
Okay.
Pat that cat.
All right. And now we bridge from the whisper into the breathy into the balanced sound, like so. We remember the pitch we wanted to aim for? Okay, so it's going to be pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat that cat.
Okay, that's pretty good. However, the whisper you started with was actually quite dark. The bridging was good, so you went through the whisper into the breathy into the balanced, but your whisper was not as high as before. So make sure that your whisper is bright enough.
Pat that cat.
Okay. Okay. One more thing you might want to be aware of is whispers are very drying to the voice. Whilst it's good to use them as a tool to kind of check where you are at with your voice, in terms of how bright you are, it's also very dehydrating. So, one thing you can do to lessen the effect of dehydration is to not like force too much air. The goal is not to go pat, that, cat. More air is not going to make our voice more feminine. Quite the contrary. What we actually want to do is make the whisper as quiet as possible. Instead of a pat, that, cat, going for a like a much easier breath, right? It should not feel more difficult than just like breathing, right? You can actually practice
Yeah.
this breathing, like breathing slash panting in a mask voice versus panting or breathing heavily in a fem voice. right? If you can manage to maintain that breath, then you get an easy posture to then move into speech. Try it out. Super gentle. Try it out.
Pat, 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 pat.
Good. That one here is that one he's bah, that one whisper is really good. And now just hold that position. Don't lose it because you might your brain just wants to go back to whatever you know more, which is your behavior currently. So always bring it back up and try to stay there. Once you have this, pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat, pat, pat
You need to start
that
with the whisper
cat.
first.
Mm.
Also, it does sound right here. Pat that cat. We're not doing the right steps. You have to listen to your whisper. How else do you know where you are at? The whisper is telling us how bright or how dark your voice is. I mean, you could technically go off like a physical feeling of, I guess my larynx is about this high based on what I feel in terms of muscle tension or what I feel beneath my fingers. But nothing is better than using your ears. Why do you think I have like a bunny as an avatar? Anyways, your turn. Good. Not quite. So
Mm.
your whisper here first, before you did that, it was now you did it. And yes, a lower whisper is going to yield a lower, darker voice, right? So this goes both ways. Right? Exact same pitch each time, but a super different vibe depending on what whisper I'm using. Okay? So for
Mm.
you, I recommend that you explore some more of those whispers and become more consistent with the really bright one, but also consistent with the low ones. It's good to have reference points. This is an island that is uncharted. You know, when you work on using your voice and training it, it's kind of like a full jungle. You have to use the machete every time to go on the path. You have to go, that's your machete swings. But the more you travel that path, the easier it is to practice, especially if you walk it every day, right? Eventually, you don't even need to do, you can just do, directly going to the bright sound that you desire. So it's a matter of practice, of playing around, and most importantly, of listening to your voice. You can't, unfortunately, have a mini version of me on your shoulder being like, yep, 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 this is a good voice. Yep, 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 yep. Or this is a horrible voice. Yep, 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 yep. You've got to trust yourself. I here give you the toolbox. Now, work on your own. I hope this has been informative and I wish you the best of your voice practice. You have a really good, solid foundation. Just practice will be the determining factor here. And of course, listening to your voice. I know it's difficult. Dysphoria is a mess. I was going to say a swear word. So I know how difficult it can be. So respect your limits, respect how much it makes you feel bad or how much it makes you feel good. Voice is an instrument. You're just learning to play it. It doesn't play you, it's the other way around. So everyone give a big round of applause to Cassie. Woo!
Thank you.
With a beatbox and off. All right. Cassie, very good job. I wish you well on your voice journey. See you around.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming up on stage. And I do not know. Oh, there you go. Boop. All right. Next up. Oh gosh, I have to look at the time. Next up, I want to see someone who wants to make their voices more masculine. If you want to make your voice more masc, please raise your hand or use the hand displayed emoji or the wave emoji. All right. I'm sure we have some people who want to make their voices more masculine. Going once, going twice, going thrice. All right, we're doing extra fem voice rounds. All right, if you want to make your voice feminine. All right, we got Jeanette here. Jeanette, you have not been in the workshop before, have you? All right, inviting you to speak now. All right, you are now up on stage. Hello, Jeanette.
Okay,
Hi.
hello.
Hello, hello. All right, let's start a timer because I am terrible at keeping track of time. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. Jeanette,
Yeah.
what brings you here?
I I'm generally I'm kind of I have a feeling I maybe have some foundation, but I'm still
I agree.
um confused on how to move forwards.
All right, very good. Then we'll be working through that. From what I'm hearing in your voice, you are already doing a lot of feminization aspects of it. That's why I was like
Mm,
asking, what do you want? I mean, you kind of sound feminine already. But I understand perfection is difficult and perfection is actually not a thing that exists. But, anyways, what you might want to do is perhaps be more consistent with your voice. Just
yes.
because you can achieve a femme voice does mean that sometimes, if you don't pay attention, your voice might dip a little bit lower back to your former masculine behavior. This kind of voice is actually really common with femme voice users. You might already start to hear that this is already a little bit strange and androgynous sounding because it is taking some feminine aspects and some masculine aspects, right? My higher pitches resemble a really femme voice, whereas my lower pitches resemble more of a masc voice. And it's that constant evolution between those two that makes you feel like your voice is not quite there yet. So we'll try to make your voice be quite there yet. First of all, I want to test a little bit how you speak and how you normally naturally sound when you use, well, normal sentences. Could you give it a try and
Okay.
give me a read on that first sentence, please?
Let's see. Okay. Hello. Good morning. How are you? Uh,
Okay. Hello, good
okay.
morning. How are you? Okay, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Next
Okay.
one.
Okay. I have a cup of coffee, please.
This is where I might see a little bit of a hiccup here.
Yeah.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please. I'm
Ca-
being
ca-
really
coffee.
nitpicky. Coffee.
Okay.
See how you did it? Coffee. Coffee. You want
Okay.
it to be
Okay. Now,
coffee. You still can go for the low pitch.
coffee.
But okay, so this is what you did. Coffee. So there's two ways to fix it.
I. Mhm,
Listen closely. I'll have a cup of coffee the way you did it first. You can fix
mhm,
it by I'll have a cup of coffee by making the low pitch really bright instead of coffee, right? It's the exact same pitch, just that we maintain the larynx high when we want to fix it. Or, which is the version you have done, I'll have a cup of coffee, coffee. You went back up in pitch to avoid the low pitch altogether. So, whilst that solution works in the first time, it kind of makes it so that you never practice the lower pitches of your voice. And you're kind of like in this constant competition with yourself to always go to the higher pitch. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Oh, I forgot to take my hormones. Are you really sure? Oh, God, it's dangerous sure about that. You know, you just keep going back up in pitch, right? I don't think it's necessarily bad, but to me, there's two solutions. Either you have to shift your entire voice higher to avoid the low pitches forever, or you have to face the lower pitches and make them a part of your voice, like I have.
mhm.
See, as I mentioned
Okay.
before, we have like an idea of what pitch ranges and pitch behaviors we have when it comes to fem voice and mask voice. Most of the time,
Yeah.
we tend to hear mask voice in this pitch range.
Mhm,
But when I'm saying the mask voice in this pitch range, I'm actually not even in the pink area. A mask voice in this pitch range. I'm actually here, right there.
mhm,
Right now, I'm speaking with a femme voice that is really low in pitch, right? You, on the other hand,
yeah.
explore more here. And each time you go lower in pitch, you seem to take on more of these darker sounds, kind of the ones that you learned your whole life with your masculine voice. It's not a surprise. You've practiced the high pitches to sound feminine, and as such, when you speak high in pitch, there is nothing to say about your voice that is negative, at least in terms of you reaching a fully passing fem voice, whatever
Yes.
passing means.
Mm,
But when you go
okay.
to these lower pitches, for example, here, yes, you're at E3, yes, and you go, okay, okay, instead of, okay. Bit of a difference. It's small, but okay, okay. Same trail down in pitch, except that in this case, I make sure to keep my voice really soft and really bright instead of letting it trail down to the more normal mask voice behavior. All right.
Mm. So
Um. Yeah.
so will it so if it's something
So
to
yeah.
remember, will it be trying to keep more of a consistent frequency?
So
Or
here's my thought process.
hmm,
I
yes.
think that if we have a big problem, such as voice, we tend to do better if we break it into smaller problems. Sure, you can maintain like a strained posture and like, hello, good morning. How are you? I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Ugh, I forgot to take my hormones. Are you really sure about that? I think I have a craving for pickles. You can always like say super high in pitch and never encounter those low pitches at all.
Mm,
But whoops, the way I would go about this is instead I would look at the pitch that is at fault, right? For example, I'll have a cup of coffee. Here, the pitch that's at fault is C sharp 3. What I would do is
mm,
I would work with you, bring your voice down to C sharp 3. So let's do this. Let's say, pat that cat down to C sharp 3.
mm,
Let's make it dark. Let's go
mm.
mask. Pat
Uh,
that
but that
cat.
guy,
Yeah. That's the same pitch as pat that cat. See how
pat,
drastic the change is?
that cat.
Exactly. You already know what to
Okay.
do. So basically, just take that low pitch. Start it dark,
Uh,
and then pa 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 pat that cat.
that cat.
Yes, just
Okay.
practice speaking with it like so. And once you get
Mm,
more used to this, you might kind of like learn how to best make it sound feminine. Of course, this is just monotony, but this is kind of like the part where we break it down to a smaller problem. We just speak monotonously at this pitch, right? And now the
yeah.
next step is to go pat that
Okay.
cat. It's going to move around the pitch because most of the issues when it comes to going low in pitch is that when you go down in pitch, your brain is like, ah, yes, I'm going lower in pitch. I'm going back to the mask voice. So it just wants to drop, right? It's mostly
Oh,
when
yeah.
you go from a high pitch to a low pitch that your voice kind of trails back down, right? So if you just hold it there, pat that cat,
Yeah.
that's good. You get used to it. But then you have to kind of challenge it a little bit and go back down to test it. Try it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Pat that cat.
That cat.
Okay.
Pat
That
that
cat.
cat.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. Awesome. Normally you would have done pat that cat. A bit of a darker version. So from what I'm hearing, I think you still are a little bit too dark on that lower pitch and maybe a little bit too heavy with your voice. Not that you're like pat that cat. You're more like a pat that cat. But chances are when you hear fem voices, most femme voices struggle to reach that area because the lack of testosterone exposure and the lack of practice in this range altogether. So another alternative to pat that cat, because this kind of requires like a lot of coordination with a lot of softness, and it really only works if you're quiet. So pat that cat, this kind of works. The other version is to go start
That.
high and go like, I'll get a cup of coffee, please. Like using creak instead. You're showing that your voice kind of fails at these lower pitches. It fails to get that fully fully embodied sound, like pat that cat, and instead gets pat that cat, right? As if you couldn't do it. Woohoo! You pouring on testosterone haver. No. But like, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of creating this illusion that you are not even that good with low pitches in the first place. So these are the two options. Either you like really brighten this and you really soften this, like in the way where you can like speak with this really warm, more motherly sound, right? Um,
I
or you
suppose.
can be up here, and then when you go lower in pitch, you kind of crack a little bit more, like you make it sound creaky, so that it doesn't sound as full. And because it sounds less full, it also results and in sounding more feminine, right? Because you're showing that your voice can't go that far down. So it kind of
Oh yeah, okay.
helps the
I
illusion of the femme
I see how
voice,
it
right?
works, yeah.
I mean, illusion, whatever. Femme voice is magic. Masc voice is magic. Any voice modification is magic. You get it.
Mm,
But anyways, that is my take on this. A little thing we could do before we wrap up here, and then we really have to wrap up because the timer has been going
mm.
off. Is I want you to mimic after me here.
Uh,
Sorry.
uh,
F3.
uh,
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Still very bright, still very femme, lovely. Down to E3. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. Down to D sharp 3. Now this is where it gets dangerous. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
So here, for example, I heard this. That mud brat sat on that flat
That,
mat. So here the M here tripped you up in terms
that,
of darkness. You can try to say and you can try to make
mm,
that M sound. Mm, mm, mm,
mm,
mm, mm. That's delicious.
mm,
That's delicious.
mm,
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 mad.
mad.
Yes, that's mad brat. Hell yes. And it sounds so much more feminine as a result. So here, your caveat was not just the the low pitch, it was also the M sound. And because it's nasal, it kind of asks a different configuration from you. So here, practicing that nasal sound mm, was what helped you out of this issue. So always like try to break it down to smaller problems. Like so. Here, monotony allows us to hear if there's fluctuation in brightness or darkness. So, yeah.
Mm,
And so as we go down, you can then target which words you want to really make sound feminine. That. Mad. Brat. Brat. Right? Like so.
Yeah,
Okay?
okay.
And that's pretty much it for you. You already have
Mm,
a wonderful fem voice when it comes to high pitches. So
mm,
either you tame the low pitches or you avoid them altogether. My my unpopular opinion, no, not really unpopular opinion, but like my personal thought like thing is like I like to use lower pitches more because it kind of allows me to have more variation with my voice instead of being like all squished up here
mm.
like that mat brat's on that flat mat. The crowbar opened the subpar car. I can actually go the crowbar opened the subpar car. And I can have like a
Yeah, that seems
wide
preferable.
range. Right, exactly. So it gives more expression. That's my only opinion. But of
Mm,
course, you could always go higher and higher and higher in pitch and use a more voice range with, like higher pitches. But that's a little bit of a different type of work. And yeah.
mhm,
All right. That's pretty much it. I
yeah,
hope this
thank
has
you.
been helpful to you. Jeanette,
Yes.
everyone, please give a big round of applause to Jeanette. Woo!
Yay.
Also, I said Jeanette. Is it Janette? I mean, it's definitely French,
I
so I'm feeling
it's
Jeanette.
it's actually Yonette, but
It's Jeanette. Oh no, are you like from Northern Europe or something?
sort of.
Oh
Yeah, like
shoot.
yeah, read it like a Finnish person, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Jeanette. No, that's more Swedish. Sorry. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Janet. All right. Janet, have a great one.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Thank you. And last, but not least, raise your hand if you want to go up on stage. Whoever it may be first will get it first. Uh, all right. Hmm. Gwendolyn, have you already been on stage before? What? I have not. All right. Your gray name is interesting to me, so invite to speak. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi. All right. Welcome, Gwendolyn. Everyone give a big round of applause to Gwendolyn. Woo! Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome up on stage. So what is it that you are working on and what you like to do with
Um,
your voice?
I think I have always wanted to have a feminine voice, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't super know what I'm doing. I
I
do music.
okay.
So all
I
I've been
feel
trying
like
to
you
do
okay.
is like kind of speak in my head voice, but I don't think the actual details of sounding more feminine have come across, I guess. So
You kind
that's why
of
I'm
already sound very femme to me though. Like
I
more like
see.
a lower femme voice, kind of like this, more like relaxed. Not like you're not like in the performative version, like like speaking like this and this and that and this. Like you're more like kind of chill with your
Yeah.
voice. I think like yeah, like this is femme voice only behavior. This is very hard to do for mask voice. You never hear a mask voice go yeah. Maybe you might hear like a
Yeah.
Right.
that's super rare. So no, like honestly, your voice is super femme already. But whatever it is that you maybe might not like about your voice, that's maybe not gender specific. We can maybe look at it. I mean, gender is a mess. It's performative and it's difficult to
Yeah.
describe, as we know. So yeah.
I
Instead,
suppose because I guess I can so explain it in this way. I feel like if I don't put in like 100% concentration on it, I start overthinking it, and therefore I end up sounding a bit weird, especially when I'm not focused. So that's
okay.
kind of my issue, I suppose.
I mean, is this like the voice you do when you are like, are you currently attempting a femme voice or is this just like your baseline voice? I want to know.
I think this is my baseline voice. Yes,
Interesting. You never had a voice that's deeper than this.
I don't think so. No,
Do you know how much you have been exposed to testosterone, if at all?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I never got like I do DIY, so
Okay.
I don't have the means to check at the moment.
You did
No.
DIY. Wait, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
22.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to ask more personal questions, but yeah, I mean, whatever it is, DIY or not, doing estrogen and doing any kind of hormones on any level does not change your voice. The only thing that will change your voice is the exposure to testosterone. So, if this
I
is your
see.
baseline voice, I think your voice has just not been that affected by testosterone, or unconsciously, you have been modifying your voice this whole time to sound more feminine. And maybe the effects of testosterone are there, you just have never explored them. That's also a possibility. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, like, your voice sounds great to me. Let's put it to the test a little bit, shall we?
Yes.
All right. So let's try this. Oh, that's the wrong slide. Okay. So let's try this. Try giving a read of this board.
Okay. Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Hello.
I'll have a
Good
cup of
morning.
coffee,
How are
please.
you? Very good. Okay. Have a cup of coffee, please. Okay. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
I forgot to take my hormones.
Hmm.
Are you really sure about that?
Ah, if I have one nitpick here, I can have one. Are you really sure about that? Maybe the sound here is a little bit thick. Are you? Let's try to make that softer. Are you really
Uh,
sure about that?
are you really sure about that?
Very good. Try to be louder without being thicker. Like so. Are you really sure? Are you really sure? Are you really sure about that?
Are you really sure about that?
Yeah. Okay.
Are
Okay.
are
Keep going.
you
Sorry.
really sure about that?
Hmm.
Uh,
See.
uh, um, when you mean thicker, what exactly
Okay,
does
let's
that
talk about
mean?
this. Take a look at this GIF here. So what you see here is a vocal fold mass shift between light and thin or heavy and thick. Quite literally, as I mentioned before, testosterone has the ability to do three things to your voice. The first thing is that it drops your larynx, so it makes your vocal tract bigger. Your voice sounds darker. This
Mm-hmm.
is not what it sounds like when I hear your voice. Your voice does not sound dark. So your larynx is either higher because it never dropped, or it's higher because you brought it up or kept it up through puberty whenever it happens, if it happened, or if it happened to a certain extent. The second thing is the vocal folds get longer, so your pitch can go from like a really high pitch down, 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 down to a really low pitch because longer vocal folds can vibrate slower, thus creating lower pitches. But the third thing, and I think that's maybe the one telltale that testosterone has affected your voice, just not in all of these dimensions, just maybe one, is that your vocal folds can sometimes get a little bit thicker.
Hmm.
So thicker vocal folds produce more sound. It produces more source sound. And what happens is if you have like thick vocal folds, what basically happens is that when you produce that thick sound, depending on how your filter is shaped, the filter will be able to filter that sheer thickness more or less out. So if I have like a really small vocal tract and have a really soft voice, and if I push like a little bit more weight in my voice, then you instantly hear the buzziness take over and it can become so much more worse. But if I take the same thick sound here and I just make my vocal tract bigger, then it kind of self fixes itself, even if I'm putting like as much power behind it. Because buzziness or hollowness is a matter of how much vocal fold mass you use versus how much vocal tracts size you have. And so in your case, I think that your vocal folds are just getting a little bit thicker, as we're able to see here in this GIF. So instead of having like a voice like R, 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 you can have a voice like R, 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 like so.
I
And
see.
then because your vocal tract is already small, right? Any amount of thickness that's too much will result into that a buzzy sound, right?
I see.
And so when you're reading, are you really sure about that? Are you really sure about that? That's when your voice kind of like gets too thick and then you have to kind of like turn it down. Now, it doesn't necessarily equate loudness. It's true that having more vocal fold mass will help you be louder, but you don't have to rely on vocal fold mass to be louder. You can very much go like, are you, are you, are you, are you really sure about that? Are you really sure about that? Kind of like projecting your voice without sounding thick. The same way, you can sound really, really buzzy, but be kind of quiet. Are you really sure about that? Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
loudness is a matter of coordination between the closure of your vocal folds and their efficient vibration, plus how much air you push behind them to, well, below them, I should say, rather, to produce the voice in the first place. So there is not much to say about your voice, except perhaps be careful with sometimes where it sounds a little bit thicker. Do you want to finish this paragraph and see if we find other iterations of this?
Yeah, I do.
All right, try it out.
I think I have a craving for pickles.
That's very good.
I totally agree with that.
Awesome.
No, that can be right.
Nice.
Blohash is my favorite shark.
Good attempt. Bloa High is my favorite shark. Smirk, smirk. I know how to say this. Bloa
I don't know how
High.
it's said.
It's okay. You're fine though. That was fine, honestly. This is all good. Um, try to say hello, good morning, how are you again?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Ah, did you notice it this time? Hello, good morning. How are you? How
Yeah,
are
I
you?
did.
How? Let's try this. How are you?
How 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 are you?
See? You can still be
Yeah.
loud without being thick. Yeah.
I just have to
How are
control
you?
like the beginning of when the sword, like when it comes from, right? It
Yes.
has to
So
be moderated.
Kind of.
suppose.
So the idea is that, as you noticed before here, there's little arrows that are meant to symbolize the air. So of course this is like a very simplified way to look at this, right? But what you can tell is that the vocal folds here don't use that much, you know, like here when you have like a light sound, there's not as much air being used. And that makes sense if you think about it. If there's less mass to move, then you need less power to move it. Whereas if you have a heavy sound, then you need more air to power that heavier sound because there's more mass to move out of the way, right?
Right.
So this also means that if you are generally good at self-fixing your um if you're usually like able to uh like fix your voice generally and not sound breathy in general or not sound whispery or whatever, your voice will kind of tend to always correct around how much airflow you push. So if I have suddenly a lot of air, think about like kind of how you get punched in the gut. You know that sound it makes,
Yeah.
right? It's a pain
Yeah.
sound, but that pain sound has like a lot of thickness, right? That's your
Mm-hmm.
body trying to close the vocal folds around like a sudden burst of air. And of course, that sudden burst of air creates that thicker sound, right? We also get that same sound when we are more angry, right? Like if you like are really angry, you tend to have like more vocal fold mass. I can't believe you've done this, right? You never are upset being like, I can't believe you've done this. I mean, you can, but like it sounds a bit too soft, I guess. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that heaviness can happen from like too much air. So what I'm saying is maybe in your case, you might be struggling with how much air you regulate or not, right? Like if you kind of like speak when like you just stop and you start again and you kind of get this heavy sound and you pause and then you start a sentence again and you go like how are you, right? It could be because you kind of like do a stop and go kind of thing where your vocal folds are maybe kind of resting in a closed posture when you're not speaking, where normally it should be resting in an open posture because that's how you breathe air in and out, right? This brings to your lungs. So if you go your vocal folds are in this position. But if you're like in the middle of a sentence and you kind of like go, okay, so I'm speaking, then I'm kind of like holding the air back and I'm restarting the voice. Right. It kind of creates that pressure, and the vocal folds can be motivated to suddenly release all that air and in a first time have like in a first step, first have like a lot of weight behind it. So
Yeah.
regulating the airflow could be a way that you could go with avoiding that altogether or repeating it and figuring it out. I think when you said the word moderation, you were kind of on the point there. Okay, super lengthy explanation. I'm sorry for holding you for this long, but everyone, please give a big round of applause to Gwendolyn. Woo!
Thank you.
Very good voice. Just be careful with the vocal weight, and I'm sure you will get super close to your fan voice. If there's other avenues that you might want to explore to further feminize your voice, because as you said before, you feel like you're not pushing your voice far enough, you can always try to explore higher pitches. As I said before, can you speak a little bit? Just say like, whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever. So the pitch here,
Whatever.
whatever. So you're kind of like around here.
Whatever.
Whatever. So you're kind of like around here. You could explore all of this area. Uh, 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 whatever. Like you could like go higher and higher.
Whatever. Oh, I did a.
Whatever.
think I did
Whatever.
a right for that.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever. See? It's like you can explore higher and higher and higher pitches because this might be like the next biggest part for your voice training where like you figure out you actually have a lot more range than you think you did. So, okay, sorry. Focus on vocal weight and focus on reaching higher pitches if you want to further feminize your voice and feel like you are moving further away from your baseline voice. That's pretty much my idea. You don't need to feminize your voice, you just need to find one voice that fits you. Okay?
Thank you. That
All
helps
right.
a lot.
You're super welcome. Clap, clap again. Woo! Sorry. All right, Winland. See you around. Best of luck with voice work. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.
And with that, we're going to wrap up this little workshop. Rory, if you are online, still on the mic, do we have any questions from the Twitch stream? All right, then I'll take the time to answer some questions from chat. So I'm sorry, everyone. There will not be anyone else on the stage today. It is pretty much done here. Oh, Prof, do you have any videos? You just can call me Savvy. Have any videos I could check out? I would recommend every and all the videos from trans voice lessons on YouTube. And if you want more, I suppose, whoops, there you go. If you want more, I suppose you could mm, I suppose you could watch the workshop VODs, because we do this too. Yeah, I'm getting your link. Give me a sec. Da, 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 da. If you've been around a while, you might find that there's like a lot of, oh god. You may find that there's like a lot, well, Leviathan, your trans mask. I mean, like all fem voice advice kind of works for for mask voice. You just need to like um reverse engineer it. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, you should find a lot of stuff here. I also know Renee Yoxon has a bunch of good trans mask content. Let me check. Maybe in the playlists. Voice testosterone, no. Trans voice, no. Pitch, resonance, vocaloid. I mean, just like check the playlists here. Oh, trans voice tools. These are good, I think. Oh no, that's different. Okay. Okay. Just look through this channel. You'll find like a bunch of stuff here. Any tips to voice practice mostly in silence? Uh yeah, I mean you can do the pot, pot, pat, pat at first at home when you can be a little bit noisy, but trust me, whispers are not very noisy in the first place. And then you can try to make those same whispers, but without making sound. So instead of saying pa, 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 just saying pa, pa. And of course, it's silent, so you can't hear it. Because what matters is that you reach a higher posture of the larynx. The whisper is only here as a telling sign of where your voice is. If the whisper is really dark, then you know that your voice is going to gently be darker and more masculine leaning. If the whisper is really bright, you're going to be able to tell that the whisper is more feminine. But if you don't use the sound at all, you can just try to get a feeling for how your larynx rises. I mean, if you spend enough time doing the you'll kind of like start to catch on onto what neck muscles and what throat muscles get involved in the process of raising your larynx. And so you can try practicing those in silence. It's not really the season now, but like if it's fall or winter, you can like literally practice raising or lowering your larynx by doing these silent exercises with a scarf so people can actually not see your larynx moving. But trust me, if you are doing this silently, people will not even look at your larynx, to be honest. So you should be fine. I hope that helps you out. And that's about all I have to say for it. Will I be able to masculinize my voice as much as you without testosterone exposure? No. I mean, like, maybe, but like one of the example I give is like there's like metal screamers and there's like voice actresses that have insanely low voices and that would challenge most masculine men, most testosterone exposed vocal tracts. But then like I don't consider myself to have a crazy low voice, but I would say that I have a lower voice than most masculine voice users when I really set my mind to it. And I would definitely say that this testosterone exposure I went through was definitely a part of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, you will be able to maximize your voice as much as allows you to be definitely in the masculine range. Yes. But testosterone is kind of a cheat code, let's be honest. Like, um, it does help a lot to have testosterone. That's not the end of the world. And if you don't do that, because even if you have testosterone in your body, you still kind of want to learn to modify your voice around that. Because,
like me having testosterone at first, like this is was my mask voice before I did any voice training, like whether feminine or masculine or whatever, right? And as I did voice training, I figured out that I could actually go like a lot darker and like go crazy low and crazy dark, right? So like I was kind of like able to explore more of my range. So like behavior is
still like a huge part of this. So yeah, I'd say like just spend a lot of time exploring your voice first. You will find your limits, and then you can like slowly try to push the boundary more and more and more and more, and find out how your voice can be shaped and how much further you can go. You shouldn't be shy about a mask voice that is higher in pitch, by the way. Like I consider this to be as much of a mask voice
than this one is, or um that this one is.
or that this one is, right? Like masculinity is a lot of different expressions, the same way that femininity is a lot of expressions, right? Like this to me is a feminine voice. 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 Like different voices, different types, different styles. So just find a voice that you like, try to mix and match it. Try not to compare yourself against voice actors who have had testosterone and 20 years of practice, like masculinizing their voices, because that's not a fair assessment. That goes for you trans girlies too, by the way. Like, don't try to mimic like an anime girl voice right off the bat. Like, come on. You are challenging yourself against someone who has never had testosterone touch their vocal cords, plus like years of experience being a voice actor and an actor on top of that. So like, you know, you might get there, but take your time and just like, expect that it will, there will be like stepping stones and like kind of stages to move through. So yeah, that it. So now I guess I'll be wrapping up the workshop. So thank you all for following into this little month of Discord voice workshop lessons. I had a blast seeing a little bit what the Discord crowd is like. But I'll be moving back to vrchat next Sunday. Well, starting next Sunday. So I hope to see you there. You still will be able to, witness the voice workshop as it happens, but I will be doing it on vrchat. So if you want to participate, I urge you and encourage you to join the Trans Academy vrchat world if you are not already a part of it. Whether you're a PC or whether you are in the headsets, VR headsets, you will be able to participate no matter what. So, yeah, I hope that y'all had a blast. I'll do my end of the workshop blurble as I do as usual. As I do per usual. That's not how you do English, is it? Gosh, I am tired. Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization,
Voice masculinization,
voice androgynization, and I teach singing, voice acting, and a little fun thing called human beatboxing with sounds such as hell yeah. So if you want to learn any of these crazy weird sounds, hit me up in Discord DMs. I mean, I'm on Discord. You can find me. It's easy enough. I also have like a little Discord server called Scientifically Augmented Voice, where I do public lessons over there. So if you want to like learn more of voice, you can head over here. And if you want to, reach out to me for lessons, private or public, I do both. Yeah, just reach out in DMs and we can discuss pricing and scheduling over there. All right. Without any further ado, let me wrap this one up. Thank you so much, Rory. Thank you, all of you on Twitch. Thank you, all of you in Discord. I'll be seeing you again in the next workshop. All right. Thank you, Rory. Bye, Rory, and bye, everyone.